Welcome to Hani English Stories. Today's story is called The Last Customer. It is a story about kindness, hope, and a promise that changed many lives. As you listen, try to enjoy the story and learn English naturally. Now, let's begin. In the small town of Willow Creek stood an old restaurant called Samuel's Kitchen. It wasn't famous. Tourists never came to visit it. The walls were old. The tables didn't match. The wooden floor made soft noises whenever people walked across it. But every evening, every table was full. People didn't come because the food was the best. They came because of Samuel. Samuel Carter was 76 years old. His white hair was always neatly combed. His apron was always clean. His smile never seemed to disappear. He remembered everyone's name. "Good evening, Mrs. Brown." "The usual chicken pie, Mr. Harris." "Happy birthday, Emma." Sometimes a customer looked tired. Samuel noticed. Without asking why, he quietly placed a free slice of pie beside their coffee. He never wanted thanks. Seeing someone smile was enough. People often said, "Samuel doesn't just serve food, he serves comfort." Every night, at exactly 9 o'clock, Samuel did something that no one understood. He walked into the kitchen, prepared one last meal: a bowl of chicken soup, fresh bread, apple pie, hot tea. Then he carried the tray to a small table beside the window. He carefully pulled out the chair, straightened the napkin, looked toward the front door, and softly said, "Your dinner is ready." Then he waited. 10 minutes, 30 minutes. No one came. Finally, Samuel quietly carried the untouched meal back into the kitchen. The next night, he did exactly the same thing. He had done it every single night for 23 years. One rainy Monday morning, a young woman walked into the restaurant carrying a worn backpack. Her name was Lily Brooks. She had recently lost her office job. She had no family in Willow Creek. She needed work. Samuel looked at her with kind eyes. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for a job." Samuel poured her a cup of tea. Before asking anything else, he said, "You look cold." Lily smiled. "Thank you." They talked for a few minutes, not about her resume, not about her work experience. Instead, Samuel asked, "What makes you happy?" Lily laughed. "No employer has ever asked me that." "What makes you sad?" She looked surprised. "What kind of interview is this?" Samuel smiled. "The kind that tells me who you are." Just then, an elderly woman struggled to open the restaurant door. Without thinking, Lily stood up and helped her. Samuel watched quietly. When Lily returned, he handed her a clean apron. "When can you start?" She blinked. "You're hiring me?" Samuel nodded. "I already have." Working at Samuel's Kitchen didn't feel like working in a restaurant. It felt like joining a family. Customers laughed together. Children finished their homework while eating pie. Older people stayed for hours just talking. Samuel never hurried anyone. "If you're lonely," he often said, "stay as long as you like." But every night, at exactly 9 o'clock, everything changed. Samuel became quiet. He prepared the extra meal. He placed it on the empty table and waited. One evening, Lily couldn't stop herself anymore. "Mr. Samuel, who are you waiting for?" Samuel looked toward the empty chair. For several seconds, he didn't answer. Finally, he smiled. "A customer." Lily laughed softly. "I guessed that." Samuel's smile remained. He promised he'd come back. "Do you really believe he will?" Samuel looked toward the restaurant door. "I don't wait because I expect him. I wait because I made a promise." Before Lily could ask another question, the restaurant bell rang. An elderly mailman entered. He handed Samuel a small envelope. It was found in an old storage room at the post office. There was no address. "I thought it might belong to you." Samuel thanked him. But instead of opening the envelope, he quietly placed it inside his apron pocket. His hands were trembling. Lily had never seen him like that before. And for the first time, she realized the empty chair wasn't just a habit. It was guarding a secret. The next day, Lily couldn't stop thinking about the envelope. Samuel had not opened it. He had just placed it inside his pocket, like it was something too heavy to face. At lunchtime, she began asking regular customers, "Do you know who Samuel is waiting for?" An old man at the corner table laughed. "His wife, of course. She died a long time ago." A woman nearby shook her head immediately. "No, I've worked near this restaurant for 20 years. He never had a wife." Another customer joined in. "I heard it was his son. Disappeared when he was a child." Then someone else said quietly, "No, I think it was a soldier. He never came back from the war." Within minutes, the restaurant was full of different answers. Everyone was confident. Everyone believed they were right. But none of them knew the truth. Lily looked toward Samuel. He was serving soup like nothing was happening, as if all those stories didn't matter to him at all. That evening, Lily decided to watch carefully. She wanted to understand the truth herself. At exactly 9 o'clock, Samuel prepared the usual meal: soup, bread, apple pie, hot tea. He carried it to the empty table, placed it down slowly, and then he looked toward the front door. Not the chair, the door. Lily noticed it immediately. It wasn't hope in his eyes. It was expectation. Like someone might actually walk in. She whispered, "He's waiting for someone to come inside." But no one came. A few minutes passed. Samuel exhaled softly and walked back to the kitchen. Lily finally understood something strange. Samuel wasn't just waiting at the table. He was waiting at the door of his memory. Winter arrived earlier than expected. The town became cold and silent. One night, heavy snow fell without stopping. Only a few customers stayed late. At exactly 9, Samuel brought out the meal again. But this time, Lily saw something different outside the window. A small figure. A boy. No more than 10 years old, standing alone in the snow, thin clothes, bare hands, watching the warm light from inside the restaurant. He didn't move. He didn't knock. He just stood there. Lily immediately ran to the door. "I'll bring him in." But Samuel stopped her. "Don't." Lily turned sharply. "Why? He's freezing." Samuel's voice was calm. "He will come in when he is ready." Lily frowned. That's not kindness. That's just watching someone suffer. Samuel looked at the boy outside and said quietly, "If I open the door for him now, he will think I feel pity. I don't want pity. I want him to believe he belongs here." Lily didn't understand, but she stayed still. Minutes passed. The boy stepped forward once, then stopped, looked at his dirty shoes, looked at the warm light inside, then slowly turned around and walked away into the snow. Lily ran outside immediately. "Wait!" But there was only silence, only footprints fading away. When she came back inside, her eyes were red. "He's gone." Samuel nodded slowly. "Yes." Lily couldn't hold it anymore. "Why would you let him leave?" Samuel looked at the empty chair and answered, "Because not every child believes they are allowed to be saved." The next morning, Samuel finally opened the envelope. His hands shook slightly. Inside was a folded letter. Lily stood beside him, silently. Samuel read it without speaking. The room felt heavier with every second. Finally, he placed the letter down and closed his eyes. Lily whispered, "What does it say?" Samuel didn't answer at first. Then he said softly, "I was right. He didn't come back." Lily stepped closer. "Who was he?" Samuel looked at the empty chair. And for the first time, he told the truth. His name was Noah. He was a child with nothing. He used to stand outside this restaurant every night just to smell the food. Lily listened without interrupting. Samuel continued, "One day, I gave him a meal. He told me, 'One day, I will come back and pay you for everything.'" Samuel smiled faintly, but he never came back. Lily whispered, "Did he die?" Samuel didn't answer directly. He only said, "Some promises don't end with return. They end with meaning." That evening, Lily couldn't take her eyes off Samuel. For 23 years, he had been waiting for a boy who would never return. But he never looked angry, never bitter, only quiet, only patient. At exactly 9 o'clock, Samuel prepared the meal again, but this time, he didn't look at the chair. He looked at the door. And then, the bell rang. The same boy from the snow. He stood there again, hesitating, scared. I don't have money, the boy said softly. Samuel smiled. He walked slowly toward him, pulled out the chair, and said gently, I know. Your dinner is getting cold. The boy froze. Lily stood behind them, shocked. Samuel continued, I'm not waiting for someone who didn't come back. I'm waiting for anyone who thinks they don't belong anywhere. The boy slowly stepped inside, sat down, and for the first time, the empty chair was not empty anymore. Years later, Samuel passed away peacefully. But the restaurant did not close. Lily stayed. She remembered everything Samuel had taught her. Kindness, patience, and silence that speaks louder than words. Every night, at exactly 9 o'clock, she placed one extra meal on the table by the window. Not for someone from the past, but for someone from the present. Someone cold, someone hungry, someone forgotten. And when that person walked in, she would smile and say, Welcome. Your dinner is ready. Because some promises are not about waiting. They are about continuing. If this story touched your heart, remember this. A small act of kindness may seem ordinary to you, but to someone else, it could become a memory they carry for a lifetime. Just like Samuel, we may never know how deeply our kindness can change another person's life. Thank you for spending these moments with me and for learning English through stories. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next inspiring English story. And before you go, I'd love to ask you one question. If you were Samuel, would you have kept waiting for 23 years? Share your answer in the comments below. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep learning, keep believing, and never stop being kind. See you in the next story.